Now, I wanted to, in line with what we were talking about just before the next technique, I wanted to tell you a story of how important it is and the effects that it can have of this kind of praise. Now, this one is praising others, this little story, but nevertheless, it produced a radical transformation. And so opposite from the criticism that usually happens. This is a story about Gloria. There was a time when Gloria was the consultant dietitian for a hospital group of care homes in Southern California. And she was in charge of all of the food service departments. In other words, she had to go around and she had to train people, she had to evaluate, she had to make sure they were keeping up the state standards. And there was, I think it was a place in Pasadena, if I remember correctly, and she went to, the company she worked for had just purchased this one complex, and so she went there to evaluate the food service, and the kitchen, how they operated and all that kind of stuff. Part of her duty for the state was to write up all the problems, which is, typical fashion, and put in her report to the state. This was a requirement that she had to do. There was also an area for comments, but hardly anyone ever put in there except to say, this place sucks. While using her Huna basis, first of all, she went in there and examined the place, and it sucked. Okay? It was really bad. There was low morale, and things were dirty, and it was really terrible. But she looked, and she looked, and she looked, and she looked, and she found a faucet on a sink that somebody had wiped very clean. And so she wrote up the things that she had to write up, and then she put in the comments about the clean faucet. This made such an impression on the staff. And part of the impression was, finally, somebody noticed something we did right. And with that little thing, next time she went to check it, there were more things right. And next time there were more things right. And eventually it resulted, that first little act of acknowledgement, in a complete transformation of that kitchen. That's all it took. When you at least acknowledge what they do right. And now apply this to yourself, because self-esteem is the thing here. Acknowledge the things that you do right. Go out of your way to find something right in anything you do. There's actually a story that would be helpful, and it's sometimes talked about like a joke, but it was originally a story, and it was made into a pretty good movie with Haley Mills many, many years ago, called Pollyanna. And Pollyanna was a young girl who always found good in anything. And one of the ways that she did it was, if something was terribly bad, well, it's not worse. But she would always find the good in everything. And she just transformed lives. Until finally in the movie version, she lost hope, and the whole town that she had transformed came and helped her get back on track. It was a beautiful way it was done. But the more you praise about yourself, the more you acknowledge and give appreciation for the right things, for the good things that you do, consciously acknowledge them. That's the vital thing here. Consciously acknowledge them. Don't take them for granted. Consciously acknowledge them. You reinforce them and develop your skill. Yes.
I was going to tell a story about that. I was talking to the owner of a cleaning company that cleaned one of the offices where I worked. And he told me the story. He had hired a young man from the Philippines recently who didn't speak English well. It was his first job in this country. And he put him to work cleaning at night. And this young man went in and he was doing a really good job. And he wanted to polish the doorknobs in the office where he was cleaning. So he got some kind of chemical out of his supply, and it made the doorknobs really shiny, but it froze all the locks. So when they all came to work the next morning, none of the locks worked, and all of the keys were going to have to be changed. And they traced it back and found out this is what had happened. So he called this young man in. Of course, this guy's thinking, oh my God, lost my job, they're going to report me, whatever's going to happen. And he called in all the rest of the cleaning people, and he said, this guy is the kind of guy I want to hire, because he went above and beyond. He was going to shine those doorknobs. Yes, he chose the wrong thing. Yes, we're going to have to replace all the locks. But this is the kind of guy that I wish you all in life.
That was beautiful. Wow. Reminds me of when I painted the captain's office baby blue right by mistake when I was in the Marine Corps. Okay. It was a good paint job. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to move into a way of increasing self-esteem that is a bit unusual. It's kind of not so much a hidden secret, but it's not used very much by people except for shamans and actors. And usually it's only the best actors who learn how to do this. And this is something, all around the world, shamans have a skill, a practice that they use, and no matter what the culture, in various ways, and it has to do with posture. In order to bring on certain states of consciousness, there are certain, and different cultures have different ones, certain postures that are assumed. And those postures have an effect on consciousness. Now, I'm going to teach you a posture right now from Hawaiian tradition, just so you'll be familiar with it, but then we're going to apply it in a more ordinary daily way, the same concept. So the first posture, of course, most everything's gone right now, so I can't really, I'll have to use myself. The posture I'm going to teach you that comes out of Hawaiian tradition is a posture designed, it's a kind of combination confidence, self-esteem posture. Okay? But it just comes to my mind now to apply it now. We call it the Tiki posture because most of the Hawaiian carved wooden figures that are also called tikis use this posture. So I'm going to demonstrate and talk about it first, and then we'll all do it. Can't get up on anything, so you'll have to trust me. Your feet are below your shoulders. Your toes are pointing pretty much straight forward. Knees are slightly bent. Okay? When I say slightly, I don't mean the barest smidgen. I mean enough to know they're bending. Okay? The hands are lightly cupped and are held in the hip socket. Now this is where the thigh bone comes into the hip. So it's not on the hip bone up high. It's on the hip socket, which is low. I'll come over there and do it. And the back is straight. People like to say as if there's a string holding your head up down from the sky, but however you want to do it. The Hawaiians say with your back straight as a cliff. Okay? So let me come out here, and so the rest of you can kind of see it here. Knees slightly bent, hands cupped at the hip socket. Okay? And that's what it is.
So your hands are kind of loose fist.
Loose fist. Loose fist, not tight. No tension at all in this. If you hold it long enough, you may get some temporary tension, but that's actually a relaxation effect, believe it or not. So I just want you to experience this and feel how you feel when you do it. So everybody stand up, please. Feet below your shoulders, toes mostly forward, knees slightly bent, hands lightly cupped at your hip socket, not on the hip bone, lower, where the thigh bone comes in, where the thigh bone, leg bone comes in, okay? There's this little, well, depending on your weight, there's a little socket there. All right, just stand there now with your head up. Not up, straight forward. All right, go ahead, sit down. May I have some comments? Anybody want to say how that felt?
It felt like I was connected to the earth a little bit.
Okay.
Very solid, firm way.
How many people felt connected? Okay, that's good. Anything else?
Surprisingly relaxing.
Surprisingly relaxing. How many other people got that relaxation effect? Very good, very good. Anything else? Yes.
I felt heat on my forehead.
Anybody else feel heat anywhere in your body while this was happening? Heat or movement? Yeah, some people felt movement, okay, because that's the energy, your bioenergy is flowing. Actually, with the relaxation and the connection, your circulation is increasing, not hyper at all, but more normally, right? It's normalizing, okay? Yes?
So, not excitement is a bit stronger word, but in my stomach, I felt, could feel the energy there, right, on that.
Yes.
I felt that immediately,
Okay, how many people felt energy like that, especially in your center? Yes? Very good, very good. Yes?
I felt just wonderfully neutral.
Wonderfully neutral. That's a very good way of putting it. Yes, yes, I like that. Okay.
I just felt really stable and strong and just kind of solid and focused.
That's right. Okay. All from just a particular posture. Now, if you would practice this posture, it really doesn't cost anything, and we did it for 30 seconds. If you would practice this, and you could extend it if you wanted to, you're going to get your body into the habit of knowing how to feel that way. And what can happen at some point, if you will practice, is that you'll think about the posture and your body will go into that feeling and shift a little bit. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you won't have to, after a while, take the full posture. You'll just have to remember it. And your body will straighten up and you'll start to feel the feeling of connectedness, solidness, energy, strength that comes along with it. Yes?
Have you heard of those buildings that they built on structures to withstand earthquakes? There are architects create these buildings with there's like almost like a trampoline effect on the building to sustain tremors. And I kind of felt like in my joints and my body, because I wasn't stiff, it kind of had that impression like.
That's right. You're at this point with the knees bent especially, you're very flexible.
Yeah, okay? I felt flexible and sustained.
Flexible and strong. So when you learn a particular pattern like this, you can apply it with your memory in any kind of situation, in a social situation, in a work situation, to get back that sense of security, centeredness, good neutral. Okay? Just like that.